Predator puts you in the battle. But the fight is all yours. Summon your strength with Predator Helios with Intel Core i7 processor. Summon your strength with Predator Helios with Intel Core i7.
I think I would remember to do that. Okay, my bad. I need to load. I don't know why I keep saying start. Okay. The following day dawned, and at breakfast it was not Rega who came to my room to serve me food or to clear away my plates. Instead, it was one of the other girls, Yoshiko. Though in this case, girl was the incorrect term to use. Yoshiko was undeniably a woman, with shapely curves not quite contained by her cotton kimono, and a certain air of self-confidence that teenagers are generally too awkward to possess. Yoshiko had slanted fox-like eyes that sparkled with mischief, and very full red lips that always seemed to be pursed or half open. She was an attentive hostess, very smiley, who talked to me casually while she served my food. She had heard about the commotion between Miss Kakeuchi and I, of course, and she seemed to find it amusing. "You made a mistake, mister, trying to make a move on Reiko," said Yoshiko, as she poured me a cup of green tea. She had rolled the sleeve of her kimono back, displaying her wrist, and then a sliver of arm. More than a sliver. I could see all the way up to her elbow. I wondered if she had done it on purpose. Maybe she was trying to seduce me. Or maybe she was simply trying to entertain herself. She seemed like the kind of woman who liked making men squirm, and unlike Reiko, she was not the sort who would give an accidental flash of too much flesh. It was all very calculated. Miss Kakiuchi loves her daughter, Yoshiki continued with her idle prattle, as speaking English, hello, continued with her idle prattle as the tea hit the bottom of the cup. She would probably wrestle a bear for her in the snow, naked. That was not a mental image I wanted, but it was so ludicrous it made me smile all the same. You almost make her sound like a demon, I said. Yoshiko giggled, setting the teapot to one side with another sweep of her sleeve. Miss Kakiuchi can be very frightening when she wants. No ogre could ever hope to best her when she's in a bad mood. Yoshiko shook her head. Last year, there was a guest staying at the inn who took a real shine to Reiko. He was old enough to be your grandfather, older than you, mister, and he should have known better, but maybe when you get to that age you stop caring about that sort of thing. If you're going to die soon, you might as well. Why worry about public opinions when you have one foot in the grave already? I said. I might have sounded non-committal, but I was actually very interested in Yoshiko's story. Even if I didn't have a vested interest in the subject matter, I would have been intrigued regardless. Yoshiko was a good storyteller. This man was always chasing after Reiko. When she delivered his food, he kept sending it back, sometimes 3 or 4 times, so he could see her again, you know. It might have been sweet, maybe, if it had stopped there, but he was so very insistent. In the end, it became unnerving. Yoshiko sighed, as though in sympathy for the poor, set-upon Reiko of last year. I wondered what the Reiko this old man had coveted looked like. I doubted she would have looked that much different to the current Reiko, except a bit smaller, maybe. Even smaller than she was already. I clenched my teeth together. All of a sudden, I felt rather angry. I felt sorry for the poor thing. She's been trained to say yes to her mother her whole life, and nobody ever taught her no. She just tried to bear with the attention as best she could. I think she was worried if her mother knew, she'd blame her for it somehow. You've seen how particular Miss Kakiuchi gets about her sleeves. Yes, I noticed. Since Reiko wasn't going to say anything in the end, I had to step in. I couldn't stand the sight of her, so sad and forlorn. It was heartbreaking. I can't imagine, I said. I was feeling distinctly out of sorts listening to the tale, and it was being told secondhand. This man was no longer staying in the Azami Inn. Why, then, did I feel such a desperate desire to throttle him? Violence was not in my nature, and I was startled by the intensity of my own feelings. I just couldn't bear the thought of Reiko's suffering. When Miss Kakiuchi heard, she was outraged, but not Reiko. That man. Yoshiko's lips curved into a sly smile. Let's just say he'll never be coming back here again. You make it sound like Miss Kakiuchi killed him. She was close to it. The old man nearly had a seizure, said Yoshiko, grinning. Well, good, I said curtly. I don't regard myself as a malicious person, and the thought of an elderly man suffering is not the kind of thought that would make me say good under normal circumstances, but these were not normal circumstances. This was about Reiko. Yoshiko must have been amused at my stony indifference to the old man's plight, because she began to chuckle. I thought much the same. We all did. We were glad to see him go. I respected Miss Kakiuchi a lot back then. Yoshiko brushed a strand of dark hair behind her ear before continuing with her tale. People don't like Miss Kakiuchi overly much, and I can't say I blame them. She's not an easy person to get on with. You can't help but respect her, though. Even if people don't like her, they respect her, and respect can be a hard thing to get. Here's the thing, though, said Yoshiko, her voice softening. You can say what you want about Miss Kakuji, but she does love Reiko. She really, truly loves her. She's completely devoted to her. I did get that feeling, yes, I said after a pause. Her love for her daughter seems rather intense. Of course it's intense. Miss Kakuji doesn't have anyone else in her life to love. Her husband is dead, and she never liked him very much anyway. No? I asked, curious to spite myself. Idly, I wondered how I had become such a gossip. I was just as bad as the housewives Sachiko spoke with at her art classes. Not that Sachiko has any aspirations of being a painter. Sachiko doesn't have any aspirations at all, really. She's a remarkably unambitious woman. She only attends those classes so she can swap recipes and share stories with the legions of other bored, middle-aged women who paint lopsided vases every Wednesday for want of something better to do. In my defense, there really was nothing else to do in the Zami Inn than swap stories. I've been working here for almost 15 years, and I remember old Nobu, though only vaguely. He really was old. And that isn't a figure of speech. He had a good 20 years on Miss Kakuji, said Yoshiko. Then I take it their marriage was not a happy one, I inquired. Yoshiko pondered, glancing to one side as she did so. Well, Nobu wasn't a cruel man. He could be a bit blunt sometimes, but so could Miss Kakuji. But maybe she became blunt after being married to him for so long? Yoshiko frowned. I didn't think they were unhappy, but they weren't happy either. Then why did Miss Kakuji marry him? The villagers say she did it for money. But the inn is failing, isn't it? It is now, but that wasn't always the case. The Kakuji family used to be rather wealthy. I steepled my fingers together, resting the elbows against the kotatsu, and pondered. In any case, Miss Kakuji doesn't have any family nearby, said Yoshiko. She doesn't have any friends. She only has Reiko. That sounds rather stifling, I said, my voice trailing away. I didn't know whether I was talking about Reiko or her mother. It is stifling. It's stifling for both of them, said Yoshiko. The Reiko loves Miss Kakuji, and Miss Kakuji certainly undoubtedly loves Reiko. It's not a healthy love. I'm worried about them. Both of them. If you truly love something, you should let it go, I said, reciting a tried and tested cliche as old as the shrine in the forest and the trees that surrounded it. Yoshiko nodded. That's right, Miss Kakuji loves Reiko, but I don't think she loves her enough to let her leave. I passed most of that day in my room trying to write, but getting nowhere. When I closed my eyes, Reiko was all I could think about. Maybe I wasn't so very dissimilar to Miss Kakuji after all. Miss Kakuji clung to Reiko, twining her arms about her like vines because she was desperate and lonely, and above all else, she loved her. She loved Reiko so much it was like slow-acting poison. A special kind of sickness. Miss Kakuji loved her daughter much. So much. Hello, where's the so much it was going to kill her. But wasn't I the same? When Yoshiko had regaled me with stories about a young Reiko attempting to fend off an overly eager suitor, I too had been nettled by the gross injustice of it all. In such a situation, I fear I would have behaved much like Miss Kakuji had. It was little wonder then that Reiko, who appeared to attract unwholesome men, was kept under such a close eye by her mother. After that incident, Miss Kakuji must have been even more sensitive to the glances men shot her precious little girl. Coveting? But Reiko was not a little girl anymore. She was a child on the cusp of becoming a young woman. Surely Reiko was old enough now to know what she wanted. But how could one blame Miss Kakuji for being concerned about our relationship? I hardly knew Reiko, yet I had been spending a good deal of time with her, away from the protection of Miss Kakuji's ever-watching gaze. I remember wondering if that was what this looked like to Miss Kakuji, a repeat performance from last year, a much belated curtain call. I was another old man trying to steal away her baby, just as Miss Kakuji herself had been stolen years upon years ago. Read, hello, read. This time, however, the situation was rather more precarious, because Reiko wanted to go off with me willingly. I wondered why. Was that because she genuinely liked me? Had fireworks stirred her soul so much she wanted nothing more than to stay by my side like a poetic muse? It seemed unlikely. I didn't doubt that Reiko enjoyed my company. She must have, else she wouldn't have sought it out of her own volition. But there was something a touch delirious about the smiles she bequeathed me. They weren't like Yoshiko's smiles, which were casual and easy, without asking for anything in return. I had wondered before, but this thought came back to me during these Reiko-less hours, as I stared at the falling snow through my open window. Maybe in her own immature, unsuspecting manner, Reiko was trying to manipulate me. Alright, I don't know if it's just me, but regardless, that is the end of day 5. There is one more day left. And I'm going to leave the game now. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Quit. And so continue this maybe tomorrow, maybe? I don't know. But yay! Thanks for anyone who is checking this out. Appreciate that. Have a great night. I don't know if I'll do some theme hospital. I kind of feel like doing a little bit more stuff. But so ends tonight's stream of 6 days of snow. Yay! Alright, thank you. Bye.